This one was working. Well, great. Well, it was, I could relate to almost everything I heard during all these days. And listening to Andrew a while ago, it was also really nice to think about my headache on Thursday, no Friday, and about feeling uncomfortable sitting up here still. So it was really nice to just resonate to all these things our body does, my brain does, whoever does to me, to just avoid things sometimes. And then all of a sudden the gift comes again to really reassure you you're on the right path, you should be here and share. And so I feel very grateful for this little other opportunity. Well, I think you heard similar things. Just maybe a little short about me. I come from a different angle. I'm working as a midwife and as a dakini, and I also say I'm a warrior of bliss, however you want to call this. And I'm offering Unitedbliss because what I love about this work that I'm trying to get any tools I feel comfortable with, I resonate with, I might be afraid of, to provide space for people to heal or to heal themselves. I try to say not that I heal them, they have to walk their own, but I try to provide their space and offer guidance for it. So me coming to what I'm basically doing now most of the time is actually, I learned it from all of you and especially from the women. So I'm a midwife for 15 years and providing space to give birth, it's for me basically working with life source energy. So people asking why are so many midwives in Tantra or yoga, for me it's all the same. For me Tantra is life, yoga is life. Yeah, for me this is all one. And working with life source energy, you can give it different names, angles, or options, however you want to call it. And when I started my work, the women I was working with during delivery, like having my hands on their yonis or inside doing examinations or trying to massage them during their contractions, it started all of a sudden that they were asking for a certain touch. Like, I started when I was 19, so I was quite irritated sometimes when they said, can you stay there? Yeah, hold certain points. Or can you massage here a little more? Or can I have a little more pressure here? All these things. And I just followed the intuition, the instinct, and could see how that affected the women in their birthing process. Just be present, just offer the space. And like Andrew also said, I liked just be whatever you need to be. Like, I feel an actor when I'm a midwife. I go into a delivery, it's like a session. Sometimes I be her mother, sometimes I'm her sister, sometimes I be whatever person in uniform she might need to, let go, or sometimes I have to be the man. So be totally masculine to provide the space for her to let go and surrender. Yeah, and for me it's important. I think I haven't heard the word birth in this conference once yet. Maybe I missed it. But for me it's really important that you all make sure that your first lovemaking with the world, the first ecstatic experience you're having is your birth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the biggest imprint you're getting is on your birth. 50% about is genetic and the rest you receive through imprints. So it's highly important how conscious and how much awareness we put on our pregnancies and on the way we're born these days. Because I believe we could save like 10 years of therapy and conferences and stuff like this if we would be born the right way, actually. To be really born in love and in a really, really good space. And actually we're working in the same field. We're working with the same hormones. Yeah, the same things we relieve during the sessions or activate in women to let down their shields, activate their pineal gland, let down their own resources of oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, all this stuff that makes pure ecstasy, that makes juice, that makes love. Actually, you get everything you need in your birth. Mm-hmm. Everything. Everything is passed on to you. We're just stupid and destroy it later on. Mm-hmm. Yeah? When I look at the 7 tools, and I look at women during delivery, doing hand scrums, hitting on somebody, doing tantrums, it's all included. You know, every sense you use, every movement, every sound, opening your mouth, yeah, open this door to open that door, it's all included in that happening. Yeah, pure oxytocin, pure love. Of course, in this case, the man has to take the present, but of course we can change it however is needed. But like I say, I can also offer this present in my masculine. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, and nowadays it's like one midwife for 4 women. I think it should be the other way around. 4 women with 1 woman that delivers. Yeah, to offer space and to offer this power and energy and that belief and that she can do it. We're made for this. We're designed for this. Yeah, we'll just need to let go. So I usually try to say to the women, because I have a lot of these business women and very organized women, and I know being myself in this part a lot of times too, also under my delivery. I was the midwife for quite a while under my own delivery, and nothing happened. It wouldn't dilate. And the midwife which was with me, she was really mad, and she was really mean to me, I thought, in that situation. And she really got me down and held me this long talk, and then was crying for a long while. And then all of a sudden I was just a woman having a child, and everything just took over. Yeah, and then I dilated really fast. So it was like really to get out of this, it's just an example, out of this control. So I used to tell my women in my classes, you know, you have the control because you decided you don't have it. Yeah, it's like trick your mind, because you make the decision now to just let go. You know, if it's the time to die, it's the time to die. And basically it's both in once. How do we know what our children think? For them it's maybe their first little death. Coming out of this warm, juicy womb, being supported, being in your little own space. And how do we know how that feels to come out? Might be the first death. For us, it's their birth. So you always have these two things very close together. Yeah, and the same thing that I think to have, like, use your birth as the biggest transformation. It's such a gift. Yeah, the stimulation of all your neurotransmitters, your skin, everything. And just imagine you had a conscious receiving, like you decided you want to have a child with, you planned it, you ate healthy, you did all these little preparations you might do. Receive a child from a person you would love to have a child with, and go into a great delivery. Fix your space, make sure what you need. Just imagine how that child makes me. Yeah, like, it gets all this oxytocin, all these love passed on during delivery. And for me, when after delivery the woman sits in her bed having her child in her arm, and it's just glowing, yeah, she's just radiating the room, and she says, you know, it hurt a little and it was quite a challenge, but that was the best day of my life. You know, then it cracks my heart and I'm going home and I'm thinking, thank you, one more. Yeah, because that's what she will tell her child the entire life. That was the most beautiful day of my life to have you. You're so beautiful. You're perfect. You're the one that I was ever hoping for. And I think a lot of us are missing this. Yeah, these first imprints, being taken away from our mothers, have people around which have no awareness. Yeah, turn on lights, keep the women in the wrong frequency. Yeah, you have to really surrender. Some of you maybe know that your body provides also during pregnancy everything you need. A lot of Western women call it pregnancy Alzheimer or something like this. You forget things because they're not important. You just get a little bit, you know, out of your mind. So your body already tries to provide everything during your pregnancy that you're able during your birth to let go. So here you get the gift again. Yeah, to just receive what you need to receive. And yeah, I mean, imagine how that would make a big change. Nowadays, what do we try to do? The women come in, we keep them in the frequency of constantly asking them. There's no privacy, there's no intimacy. Yeah, we keep them basically in beta frequency. And you had this little talk about the brain before. I don't want to go too deep into it, but it's really important. And you're in beta frequency, you're in your neocortex, meaning you're constantly in your mind and you're passing out adrenaline. That creates fear. Yeah, and there's more adrenaline, more fear, you have more pain you cannot handle. And actually it's no pain. It's a tough time, but you can replace the pain through bliss actually. And so if you go into this meditation frequency, which is theta frequency, it seems like the women, they're out of their mind, but they're totally functional. They seem totally gone, and for some people, I imagine, totally scary, yeah, because you cannot talk to them. But I would say, you know, turn to your other side. They will do it. They stay functional, but they're totally out of their mind in their theta frequency. If you would compare that to say it takes a man 7 years of meditation practice to be able to be in this frequency, and we get it as a gift. Yeah, we can just do it if we let it happen. And I think we forget about all these good things we're getting, you know, for our journey into life. And a lot of people have been born, but still didn't say yes to life yet, for me. Yeah, it doesn't only mean the process to get here. It really needs to say yes to be here. And just coming back to the story of me trying to provide the space, teaching people to put more awareness in it and fix their space for delivery, I also found this great key of the de-armoring. Yeah, so you can also call it sacred touch work or sacred spot work, but I would go a little deeper and call it de-armoring. Just saying that I learned this under birth. So I did this for a couple of years, and a lot of women had ecstatic orgasmic experiences just for me stimulating the receptors on the cervix, or came back later and said, you know, since you did that, I'm having full body orgasm. So I'm writing these things down. First not sure, okay, did I do that? Should she do that? Was it a combination? First you collect. I was young and I was just collecting the informations. And then some said, you know, after being with you and doing this, I have no pain at my period anymore. Things like this. And then the women started coming, passing it on to friends. So then they came pregnant or non-pregnant, and yeah, coming with orgasm problems, or even with not getting pregnant. That was quite something interesting too, to clear your entrance first and then all of a sudden doing 1 to 5 sessions and they were pregnant. It's one part of it. Of course, you need the right partner and the right environment. That also takes place, but that was quite something. And then the doctors starting to get interested in it, you know, because they're getting a lot of money how to get women pregnant. So I had a really hard time because women were passing this on and passing my number on. But I know I was on the right path because it really took place in getting people to start thinking about it and what is she doing and what is important about it. And I still refuse to teach doctors, actually. I don't do it because for me it's very spiritual, and I think you have to be very open to go through a process like this with the women, and it's not just mechanic. It's not like, okay, you're healed, that cost you 500 euros. I'm just kidding, but you know, it's like for me, it's not like this. So I try still not to do it. I'm teaching midwives, I'm teaching doulas, things like this, one-to-one or in workshops, and just do it very conscious and really know what you're doing. And it's a box of Pandora. It can be a soft touch, it can be very violent, it can be very rough. You never know what comes up. Your soul is naked during birth. Yeah, you have to be aware of this. You can damage so much, but you can give so much too, that they can heal themselves. Yeah, so the de-armoring was really a huge key. And funny, from the women I came to the men. So they were then starting to ask, okay, how is it with us? Of course you get passed on the same things if you're male or female. It doesn't matter from your mothers. And then we came about talking about these energy, what we are able to let flow during our birth. That's the same thing we do during the orgasm. Yeah, and it relates also with this not going for the peak. For me, I could so go with the thought of riding the wave, but don't fall off the board, or don't jump off the board. To just stay in this and just really go into expansion in the pain and to make it more energy. Can you follow this example? It's like women who have labor, they're like, of course the contraction comes, you know, they're like, ooh, there comes another one. It's like, you know, oh, and first you contract, and then all of a sudden it comes this urge, you know, to push. So you actually go into this expansion. And that also works during the de-armoring and during the orgasm. When a man feels like he's coming, or he needs to go into relaxation in his PC muscle. The women have the same thing. When you feel like you're coming, it sounds a little funny now, but you push towards the partner. You go into expansion, into relaxation, actually. And that's the same thing you get during birth. Yeah. So actually it's all one, you get everything you need to know actually for your life in this little thing. Yeah. All the lessons are included. We just forgot how to read it or how to just say welcome to it. Yeah. And instead we're doing primary cesareans, you know, like plan the day, plan the time, no oxytocin included. Yeah, no stimulation of the skin. The kids, you can tell, I mean, if you look on the playground, you can see the children, you can actually tell the difference. The kids which are born on a natural, happy, oxytocin way, those are the kids who jump off a cliff or just pass you on ski, you know, like this with no fear. They have this base trust. Really, really, yeah, just, I mean, if you tell them, jump off the tree, I'll catch you, they jump. You know, you're just standing there saying that. And you can watch the sensomotoric of the whole movement. You can watch their muscle tonus. It's totally different. Yeah? Like primary cesarean, for example, there's no oxytocin. So you have a totally lack or a capability of loving yourself. You never received these informations. Yeah, you have a...
Just explain what primary C-section is. Maybe
Oh, I'm sorry. That's when they plan to get the child through above, like cutting the stomach. That's a cesarean. And primary is just the one you do before you have contractions, and they're planned. Like they pick the day and the time or whatever, the husband's vacation. So just a mean thing to add, but that's usually what they like to do. Yeah, so, and then they have totally numbness for the mothers. Yeah, and the children have no warning that this will be the end of the pregnancy. They just get pulled out into this new environment, you know, not very softly get placed on their mother's top, you know, you get wrapped, all of a sudden be in totally shock, maybe get something in their nose and their throat, you know, like somebody, you know, very rude, very rough. And yeah, the mother cannot do anything. She doesn't feel anything. She can hear it and maybe sees it. It really depends on the hospital. And there's a lot of countries which also do circumcise male babies right after delivery.
I had a question because my two daughters were born by cesarean because it was impossible to let them born normally. It was too dangerous for me. The first time I was so angry that when I heard that it was not possible, for 2 weeks I was angry, crying, because I really wanted, you know, to have this experience. And the second time it was the same, and my doctor said, how could I, because I discussed this with him and he was a really nice guy from Indonesia, and he said, how could I comfort you, because I understand for you it's a big deal that you're not being able to do it naturally. And I asked him during the cesarean to take the cloth away, you know, to be able to see everything, so they put a mirror for me, which was quite a bit scary because you see your belly opening and all the blood and so on, but it was such a beautiful experience. And he said, you tell me in which tempo I should take the child out, so that it was not abruptly done, which is normally during a cesarean, but he took the time to take her out. And
can you tell the difference between the two?
And there was much difference between the first child, who was born, let's say, without this extra care, and also they gave me the child first. Normally the doctor for the children, how do you?
Yeah, the pediatrician.
It takes them immediately to another room to check them. But in the second case, I was able to discuss or negotiate that she would be with me for the first 15 minutes, and then, you know. So that was really wonderful experience, also a traumatic experience, because it was really kind of alienating to see myself, you know, not having any feeling because you're having an aesthetics. But, you know, this child's coming out, and I think it would be wonderful if it's necessary to have a cesarean that you can...
Yeah, make it very conscious, right.
Yeah.
And I also think it's like, I don't want to scare anybody, because in some cases it is necessary, yeah. And then, of course, we save a lot of lives because we're able to make cesareans. I didn't say anything like this, but it's like you can make up a lot through parenting, being conscious about it, know it, yeah, and then do everything you can to somehow recreate the situations. Meaning, like when I know the baby was missing the external dearmoring through the birth channel, for example, I would give the baby massage every day. Things like this. It's just an example. Or the baby was missing the way through the birth channel, where it usually picks up a lot of healthy germs they need for their immune system and for their testicles. Yeah. So, I mean, you can buy it in the pharmacy in artificial stuff. It's not the same, but it's better than nothing. So you can try to keep up with things. And of course, your overflowing love, parenting, you know, can make up such a big thing. You know, I was carrying my son because he needed this, just because he was one of the babies who was still crying a lot. He walked with 18 months. I was breastfeeding him for 14 months, and he wanted to be carried the whole time. So it was like healing each other, just, you know, by presence, and just, you know, show his respect, try to keep up with his needs and whatever. So you can do a lot through parenting too. Yeah, so it's very important.
There's also a place for women who end up having a cesarean
Yeah.
because things aren't working, but then are traumatized by that. And
Yeah.
I've done work with women who come in for their second birth,
Yeah.
and they're carrying this trauma. You know, ideally that trauma gets cleared immediately, you know, not 2, 3, 4, 5 years later. But at least if that trauma gets cleared at the beginning of the second pregnancy versus they're carrying it through that pregnancy to another birth.
That's a good bridge to, you know, going on with this, because this is really really important. We tend to recreate also our own birth. So it's always important to know how yourself attended or your arrival was into this world. Yeah, because coming back to this brain imprints, talked about the limbic system, which is very important during birth, because any information your baby receives through you is stored in this limbic system during the pregnancy. I would even say during the receiving from the void into the womb, during the pregnancy, and mostly, of course, during birth and your early childhood. So even if some think, well, what does it affect me? It affects all of you. You all are entered or arrived at this universe, and you're all hopefully born mostly the same way. So the imprints you receive there are stored in your so-called limbic system, which is not connected with the neocortex at that time. Meaning the neocortex would make sure that your brain could say, okay, this information is good for me and this is bad for me. But that's not happening at that time. So you just take any information you have in, and this is what creates your, I would call it, comfort zone. It creates the zone you will be acting out for the rest of your life. So that really leaves a huge imprint on the way how you can love yourself, which partners you pick. So if it has been a suffering, a near-death numb experience, yeah, you will always be surrounded by people who serve you this because you think this is normal for you. Yeah, you really need to break through that to actually heal and bring that into consciousness. Yeah, so it's really important to really make sure you end up with the people that serve you and not the people you think that serve you. Yeah, because at this time you had no choice. Yeah, and this also goes with the early childhood. Yeah. So what I try to do through the jammering session, there are usually one-to-one sessions because it's very personal and everybody has their own story, of course. And there's also a lot of abuse, unconscious sex, rough sex, all these stories who come with it. And sometimes during birth, everything pops up. It's really like your soul is naked. You're going through different levels and layers of stuff which all of a sudden appears. So it also takes a lot of care to be there afterwards, to be present afterwards. Yeah. So during the workshops, it's just like a short intro because I really think I haven't heard the word yet. And for me, you really have to realize that you make the base for your existence in this time, for your first lovemaking, your first ecstatic experience. And I missed this during the rest of the conference. It's really, we have to go, I think I heard you saying before, through the mud first. Yeah, just clean the base first and don't start here, start there. Yeah, and mothers are also very grounded. You get this through spirits, but on the same time, we're like almost dancing a haka during birth. You know, we're very grounded and connected at the same time. And that's basically what I think is the right thing to be in. So what I wanted you to do, because I felt like a little less movement on this conference for me, in the workshops we try to recreate situations to basically reset your limbic system. meaning we can recreate your birth, we can recreate the little situation when your parents produced you, when you were received the conception, yeah, and we can do it funny and with humor and with very love, and all the people can surround us and hold space for it. So depending on our time, maybe we could pair up to 3 people, make like a little group, and make the decision who's going to be the baby first. So one of you will be the baby. And what I want you to do is the other one, or maybe 3 or 4, it needs to be a couple of hands to make it real. Yeah, and one of you can like snuggle in the middle and pretend you would be in the same room and feel comfortable. Let me finish real quick. And the other ones really pretend the movement, the sound around it. And think about you would bring that baby through the birth channel, meaning you would really touch it on their body to really move it like it would get through there. Yeah, and when the baby made it through, are you gonna listen till I'm finished? When the baby arrived, I want you to also work with one of the other first imprints we're having naturally. It's searching, sucking, and swallowing. Meaning when your baby is born, you'll get one of these juicy pieces of fruit. Yeah, I can explain it in a little more detail, but let me finish. And you can maybe take a piece of mango, for example, and the baby that just received, you know, one of you will hold it in his arms, and you will just go with this great smell, because they have this reflex to, you know, follow and just stimulate this, the lips, get the taste on it, so that they go for it, take it away again, you know, and just somehow nurture your kid to really have a juicy, nice first imprint of feeding, meeting your mother, meeting her nipple, get life source juice out of your mother. So I bought as much mangoes which we're able to use. Otherwise you have to take oranges. The bananas might be not too nice, but the oranges and the mango smells very well. So maybe find your place with 3 or 4 people. Don't think too much, just let it happen. When he was asleep, he made wants to be mine. So one is just going to cuddle up in the middle, and the other ones are just going to be pretending. It's like you would melt something out of a tunnel, you know, you really go over the sensation, skin, grab it, feel like you would get it through that birth channel out into the light. Like all of your hands are all over this baby.